when I put the pots in the kill, it's like I've done the best I can, and then I offer up this offering to the kill gods and the fire people, and another thing happens. There's a lot of variables there. The weather, how the wind blows. Maybe it's tied in with the phases of the moon, I don't know. But different things happen in the kill that I'm not totally in control of, and I really like that. I like the idea that I'm going to be kind of surprised by what comes out of the kill. I have a general idea. If I put a pot here, it will get hit by the salt or the ash in such a way, and there will be this nice blush on the side or a flash from the flame, but it's not definite. There's always a collision between my expectations and what the kill wants to give me, what the fire people have done. It's kind of a father-son conflict, I think. This conflict where the old man is always telling the kid how he should turn out and being disappointed with him, when in fact the kid is being his own person. I sometimes need to stand back and let the pots be their own person, let the pots be themselves, and accept them for what they are, instead of throwing them on the scrap pile immediately when they come out of the kill and they haven't met my expectations. I try to look for connections in the things that I do. I believe in certain things about God and nature and what life's about. Like this mark I use on my pots. It's everybody thinks it's a Y. It's an old Hebrew character which is taken from the imagery of a person standing with their hands raised towards heaven in prayer, and it means praise ye the Lord. And I stick it on there just to remind myself to reach out towards something else, and to make pots that are going to be a service to people instead of just to my bank account, to make pots that will live in people's homes and their lives, and to try and remind myself that everything I do should be a return to that source, that heavenly source, where we all came from. We came up out of the earth. Our life comes to us from the sky, and we should acknowledge that. And when you're standing with your feet on the earth and your hands towards heaven, you're sort of making that connection. Yeah. My wife is Lee Udall, and she's a painter. She paints the things that she encounters in her life in terms of people. She paints herself a lot, which is a real introspective thing. She paints things about herself and about her children, close friends. I'd say most of her models are female. I think she's exploring the feminine side of who we are. She's doing it in a real strong way. It's not like she's taking backseat to anybody. It's not like she's there in that context because that's where men told her she had to be. It's because this is where she wants to be. She is the most important influence in my life and in my work. It would be much different if non-existent without her. A lot of my friends who are in the visual arts always ask me, what's it like to be married to an artist? And for one thing, I think it's good that we're not in the same medium. I think I live out a lot of my aesthetic fantasies through her work. I look at her paintings and I get real excited about them and I like them, and I don't feel a need to say ever want to do any more drawing or painting. Maybe I will at some point. But we've sometimes talked about collaboration, but never really pushed it very far. I think the best collaborative things that we've done are the ones we've given our names to, the children. Louisa and Zina and Ada. That's a good creative collaboration. Well, I think when people buy pots, one of the things they're getting from me, I realized this a while ago, is they're getting a piece of some kind of a dream or a myth that they have about me. I was throwing pots one day, and some yuppies, they drove up in a BMW, and I think they were from somewhere up in the city, and they came in, and I came out in my overalls with mud on me, and looking pretty country. And these guys came in, and one of them was taking these big hits of air, and I thought he was going to hyperventilate. And he looked at me and he said, "You get high on life, don't you?" And I kind of looked at him slow and said, "Yup." And they all bought mugs and took them home, and I can just imagine those guys sitting in their offices, 10 o'clock in the morning, handling that mug that I sold them, and kind of having some kind of a fantasy about me down here working in my garden and making pots and playing with my kids and milking goats and eating granola for breakfast. And that may or may not be true, but it's I guess it's their way of having a connection with some sort of a pastoral existence that they imagine that's going on down here. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I do my fair share of Pepsis and donuts. For a long time, I was making pots that seemed to be oriented towards a certain type of market, real accessible colors and patterns and cute kind of country stuff. And I couldn't make enough. There was a big market for that, and I was making lots of them, and I found that the cuter I made them, the better they sold, and the more blue on them, the better they sold. And I woke up one morning to the fact that my kiln had been cooled for 4 or 5 days, and I wasn't interested in unloading it. It was just another task, like we got to go shovel the snow today or something. And I think when that happens, a person's work has become spiritually dead or pretty close to it. That if you're not putting a lot of your own self into it, you're losing ground. And so I went off and didn't make pots for a while. And when I came back to pots, I made pots that excited me, and that's what I try to do. Each time, if a potter's not singeing their eyebrows and, burning their hands unloading kilns, and you just can't wait to get in that kiln, and you can't wait for it to cool off to unload it, then there's something happening. Then the honeymoon's still on. And but once it becomes a chore, and once there's no more joy in it, then I'd say you should retool and become a bus driver or something that's going to be more exciting.